Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Denise House with GBS Benefits. Anybody new to the county? So this is a review. Okay. So you probably can fill in the pieces for me if I ask questions, right? Okay, so we're going to review everything. We don't have a lot of changes this year, but as you know, open enrollment is your opportunity each year to look at your plan benefits, review if you're on the right plan that you want to be on, make changes, add or delete dependents, or you could come on the plan if you've not been on the plan. We're asking that you do elections now through November 17th. So if you want to make any changes, please do so by the 17th. Once you've made your elections, those plans are in place. Elections are in place until next open enrollment. If you have a life event, which is considered a qualified life event, such as the birth of a baby, marriage, divorce, you have an adoption, then those are situations when you can make a change as long as you do it within 30 days of those events. The last thing I like to highlight is losing coverage. Let's say you decide not to come on to the county benefits. Can you come on to these benefits if your spouse no longer has access to coverage? Anybody know the answer? Yes. As long as you make application within 30 days. Yep. So just like to make sure and highlight that for you. Make sure you're aware of that. No carrier changes, which is great news, okay? We're including Motivate Me. Donna's going to talk about that. It does include having you do an exam or an assessment, or the assessment, I should say, coaching, and it includes incentives. So we're excited about that. Your payroll deductions, which is most important, how much are you going to pay? That is on the benefit guide on page 50 and 51. So if you want to look at that, there has been an increase, but I can't say that it's significant because it's not. So just wanted to make sure and point that out to you. Also to note, the HSA contributions are still in place for those of you that enroll in the qualified high deductible. And I will point out to you that the HSA deductions that the county is putting in is unheard of. I'll be honest with you. I do a lot of group meetings. I'm an account manager for a lot of large accounts, and honestly, the contributions that the county has in there is very nice. So this is your plan. Make sure you are prudent with the services that you're using. We certainly want everyone to stay healthy. That is the point. And hopefully we can continue with that. The county does pay 100% of your basic life, AD&D, dependent life, if applicable. The Employee Assistance Program, which we implemented with Blomquist and Hale, and the administration fee for your flexible spending account. So I like to highlight that. Oh, and Employee Vision as well. So that's paid 100% for you. So again, great benefits that are being provided. The individual mandate as far as what is in place. For 17, as you know, we had a penalty if we didn't have insurance on ourselves. That is still kind of to be decided as far as this next year. However, one thing to know is you probably received a 1095 form last year for your plan benefits. Maintain that with your tax files. IRS in the future, 3 years, 4 years, may say we need to see the tax form 1095. You'll have it, and you'll think of me and hopefully remember that you were supposed to keep that. And then again for 18, we're not sure what's happening with that, but certainly if you have someone in your life that doesn't have access to coverage and they do need insurance, point them over to GBS Benefits. We have an individual department. That's all we do at GBS. So they're the experts. They're able to get them through the marketplace, which is extremely confusing and overwhelming. So I like to make sure and point that out. So next, a screenshot of your benefits. 2 plans still being offered, the traditional plan and the qualified high deductible plan. As you know, this is based on calendar year. And it is going through the open access network, no changes there. This is just a screenshot of the in-network benefits, assuming you're using in-network providers, okay? If you access out-of-network providers, obviously you're going to pay more. You're not going to be held harmless, meaning that the provider can charge you over and above what is allowed, so keep that in mind. But a brief description, the deductible individually is $1,000, family is $2,000, out-of-pocket max that you'll pay on the traditional side is $4,500, $9,000 max for a family. Preventative care, that is your routine physicals annually. We want you to stay healthy. Please make sure you're getting those exams, kids are getting their routine immunizations. The plan will pay 100%, assuming you're using participating providers. If you go to the doctor for primary care or specialty care, that is subject to a copay of $35. And then urgent care right underneath that is $45. Keep in mind that on urgent care, that is something where you don't feel well. Today, we're going to talk about a telephonic service that you have access to. Highly recommend that you get registered with that. There's two services that Donna's going to talk about. These are becoming very, very popular. And I really want to make sure that we're accessing it when possible. I had a situation where I had a sinus infection, couldn't get rid of it for anything. Called the doctor while I was at work, talked through my symptoms. On the way home, I got my antibiotic and was on my way to recovery that quick. So I really want to make sure that I highlight that for you today and that you actually use that as a resource. That's going to save you money. It's going to save the plan money. Ultimately, we all win, okay, financially. Hospital services are subject to your deductible and then paid at 80%. The plan, you'll be responsible for 20% until your out-of-pocket maximum is reached. Same with emergency room. For prescriptions, you can see on your generic, you're going to pay $5. Obviously, that's another really great benefit, often not seen. Preferred benefits are subject to a 30% coinsurance minimum. Maximum, you can see, is the $200 that you're going to pay on those preferred medications. Non-preferred are a 50% coinsurance, minimum is $50, $200 maximum. And then specialty medications, you can see, are the $20, maximum of $150, okay? Make sure you do your homework, talk to your doctor, see if you're not on a generic, can you access a generic medication? Usually the generic medications are as good, as effective as a preferred. Your preferred medications are going to cost you more, right? And we've talked about from year to year about the pharmacy tool. Cigna has one, GBS has one. We want to review that with you. Make sure you're accessing it. Lastly, the second plan is the qualified high deductible plan. This is where you pay your deductible up front for all services, including pharmacy, and then once your deductible has been satisfied, the plan will start paying 80%, you pay 20%. Pretty straightforward, although I don't think a lot of people want to take the leap and go on the qualified high deductible. But again, can't stress enough as far as what the county is putting into your HSA. That's money that is yours for life. That's in a savings account that you have to pay for your out-of-pocket expenses. Doctor, medical, dental, vision. So keep that in mind. But under the medical, you can see individually you have a $1,500 deductible. Family is $3,000. Out-of-pocket maximum is $3,000 and $6,000. So you actually have less out-of-pocket on the qualified high deductible. Your preventative care is covered at 100%. Thereafter, as I stated, everything else goes towards that deductible. Paid at you pay 20% until those maximums are met. Am I pushing the high deductible? I am a proponent of the high deductible only because financially it makes sense. And so certainly if you haven't taken that leap and you have questions, I am here after the meeting. We can talk through it. But I really believe financially it makes a lot of sense. And then on prescriptions, you can see after your deductible, you're going to have that generic cost of $10, 25% for preferred, and 50% for non-preferred. Okay? I'm going to turn the, yes? Durable medical equipment on which plan? Both plans? Traditional. I believe it's subject to deductible and then reimbursed at 80%. You're going to be,
They pay 20.
yeah, it'll be reimbursed at 80% and you'll pay 20%. Subject to deductible. Okay? Okay. I'm going to turn the time over to Donna, and we're going to continue going through this, but certainly if you have any questions, let us know.
Thanks, Denise. So now we're going to talk about some things that are new, some things that are not new, so we can remind you the different resources you have through Cigna. So this is the one that Denise was talking about. In your packets, I put 3 flyers, just in the front. Those of you that I gave packets to, the rest of you, I have these up front. This is the telemedicine or telehealth connection that Denise was talking about, where you can access care for minor conditions, not emergency type conditions, but things like allergies, asthma, urinary tract infections, different things like that, where you can actually call from your house or from your work and contact with a board certified physician. So I gave you 2 separate flyers. One says AM Well and the other says MD Live. So there are 2 vendors you can choose from. So I would strongly recommend that you go online or call, you can do either way, and register for these services. This particular flyer is the one that gives both on the back. It gives you the phone number that you can contact to register and to make an appointment, or it gives you the URL that you can go online and register. So you can do it either way. The benefit of registering early is if you're not feeling good, the last thing you want to do is give a medical history to a physician over the phone. So make sure that you go online and get registered. You can register one or you can register for both. The other 2 are the mobile apps. They both have apps. It gives you instructions here on how to access care through the mobile app. You can actually call in or you can do it via Skype. And for the traditional plan, you guys would pay the same copayment you pay your primary care, the $35, but you do it at the convenience of your desk or your home. So when I had small children, I didn't like taking them to the pediatrician and being in the sick room with all the other sick kids. Well, when my kids are sick, I don't want to expose other kids either. So it's an easy way for you guys to do it from your home, not have to go out in the cold, get in your car, take the time to drive to the pediatrician's office. And they will actually send the information to your pediatrician. So when you register, make sure you give that information, who your primary care doctor is, and they will actually send the notes to that primary care. They also can send a prescription, if warranted, to your pharmacy. So when you register, you're also going to want to put in your preferred pharmacy. So it's slick, it's easy, and on the high deductible health plan or your HSA plan, it would be a $42 fee. It will process as a claim, it will go towards your deductible. So it's really, really easy for your minor type conditions. Any questions on that? Because we're going to send you out electronically these and do a couple of reminders so that you guys remember that this is available to you. And once you try it and find out how easy it is, share that with your coworkers because it really is convenient and easy. Any questions on that? Okay. You also have, if you go on to mycigna.com, hopefully everybody that's on the plan has registered for mycigna.com, and you can go on to our prescription pricing tool, put in the name of your prescription, and then it will tell you, maybe they prescribed a non-formulary prescription and there's a generic available. It's going to tell you what the generic is. And you can put in 2 different pharmacies and it'll tell you the difference in the cost. So on your copayment plan, obviously, if you have a copayment, it's the same. But if it's the percentage up to a maximum amount, you may find that you can save yourself some money there. We also have that you're going to see on that site for your maintenance medication. So anybody that's on medication that you take on a daily basis, asthma, allergies, blood pressure, cholesterol, things like that you take every single day, birth control, that type of things, you can actually get 90 days at a retail pharmacy. Or you can still utilize our mail order benefit. So those of you that may not have utilized the mail order benefit, we've made it even easier for you. You don't have to fill out the hard copy form. You simply call member services, do the pharmacy prompt, and tell them you want to set up for home delivery. So we're going to ship it right to your house. They're going to ask you 5 questions. After any personal PHI type stuff, they're going to ask you the name of your physician, his phone number, what the prescription is, and the dosage. So let's say you're taking simvastatin for cholesterol and it's 20 milligram. And the last question they're going to ask you is, how do you want to pay for it? So you have to give them a card to pay for it. Then Cigna's going to contact your provider. It's going to get the verification, the approval, and then we're going to mail it to you. And then every 3 months it's refillable. You can do all of that on mycigna.com. So if you're not registered and you're on the plan, strongly recommend that you register for MyCigna. So the new way that you can do this is called Cigna 90 Now. We have a smaller network of pharmacies where you can actually fill 90 days at the pharmacy. So when you go onto mycigna.com to our pricing tool, if there's a green X, it'll say 90 day. You can utilize those pharmacies and go get 90 days. Okay? Questions on this particular one? Give it a try because it's really convenient. If you don't want it mailed to you, you can go to the pharmacy and pick it up. Healthy Rewards is a discount program. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this program, but since you've been with Cigna for a while, I wanted to put a few things in here that you might not know about. These are things that are not covered on your medical plan. So it would be things like massage therapy, acupuncture, teeth whitening. There's some magazines that you can subscribe to. There's discounts on gym memberships, just all kinds of stuff. Spend a few minutes. If you've exhausted your eyewear benefit, there's discounts on exams, lenses, and frames. So mycigna.com, just want to make you aware you have 2 tabs. If you'll look up in the top left-hand side, you see My Plan and My Health. So the My Plan is where you're going to see who's enrolled in the plan. You're going to look at explanations of benefits and things like that. I'm going to touch just a minute on the My Health tab because January 9th, still January 9th, we're going to roll out the Motivate Me, which is a incentive tracking tool that you're going to use through the My Health tab. So if you want to be in the incentive program and you're not registered for mycigna.com, what's the next step? Register, yes. So just make sure that you go in there and get registered so you have access to it when we roll it out. And then obviously the mobile app. The couple of things I really like about the mobile app is, and I probably told you this story the last time I was here, but he's doing much better at it. So I have a spouse who calls me every time, what's my ID number? I'm like, seriously? How many years have we been doing this? Let's see, 37? Okay. We're going to cut the umbilical cord. So it's on your mobile app. Your ID cards are housed on your mobile app. We have One Touch now, so instead of a password, you can use your thumbprint and pull up the ID cards, slick as a whistle. I don't get phone calls anymore, so I'm happy. You can check your explanation of benefits. You can check your mail order medication and track it and things like that. So I want to cover just a couple of reminders. So make sure on your prescription drugs, GBS has a pharmacy pricing tool. Cigna has one. Utilize that to save you money. Use our mail order or use the Cigna 90 Now to save you money. So these are ways that you guys can save money. Make sure you stay in network for your providers and utilize our telehealth services for you guys. And then make sure that when you go to the emergency room, it's a true emergency. So you guys have urgent care for the things that telehealth covers. You now have telehealth, which is some of your urgent care stuff they can cover. And then something like bronchitis that you would be going into to the urgent care for, you can use telehealth. And then make sure that if you go out of town, you have your phone with you because we have a national network. And if let's say you go to St. George and your kids are playing ball and one of them gets hurt, you can pull up the mobile app, put in urgent care, St. George, and it will tell you the closest one and it will even give you directions on how to get there. So I've told you 3 ways to get a hold of Cigna. Who can tell me 2? Mobile app, telephone, and mycigna.com. So hopefully you guys are able to get a hold of Cigna when you need us. Obviously, we want to be there for you in whatever modality you want to call us in. So any other questions?
What if I'm traveling at Disneyland and my child's sick?
You hopefully have your mobile app, or you can call Cigna. And they will ask you where you're located. You can talk to a nurse. We have registered nurses available 24/7. It might be something that they just recommend, alternating Tylenol and Motrin if it's a fever, and see if you can get the fever down. And if not, obviously then you're going to have to access care. But the 24-hour nurse availability is another function of Cigna. So those are the 3 ways that you guys just told me. Your phone number is listed on your ID card. Okay, now you can talk about your tool.
Okay. So is anybody using this pharmacy tool at all? Is it helpful? Especially for those of you on the qualified high deductible plan, because what happens prior to your deductible being satisfied? You pay for it, right? So it's best for you to know the best cost. So hopefully you are using it. If not, please start using it today. Make sure you have this on your smartphone. This is accessed through our website, not through the App Store. So www.gbsbenefits.com, and then it'll give you the option to save it on your smartphone. You'll want to do so. And then the next time you go in for a prescription, make sure you access this site. It'll ask you for your company name. You'll put in Box Elder County. That's just so they know that I've done my job in communicating to use it. And then it will price compare for you the prescription at all the retail pharmacies in your area. So you'll put in the city and zip code and where you're at, the name of the prescription, and it'll price compare for you at all the retail pharmacies. Whatever you save, obviously, and hopefully you'll save some money doing this, is obviously going to be a savings to the plan as well. Okay? Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the health savings account. I'm going to turn the time over to Scott Rose with Health Equity. He was out here not too long ago when we made the change from Bancorp. So we're going to make sure and review the bonuses of being on the high deductible health plan in the HSA.
Hi, everyone. Like Denise said, my name's Scott. I work for Health Equity. You should each have a booklet that says Winning with an HSA. Talks a little bit about the Health Equity HSA. Just go through that real fast. The information that's in your Box Elder County book does just kind of have some generic information on HSAs, but I want to talk specifically about Health Equity real fast. The first page talks about why you may want to choose an HSA. Open enrollment is the time that you can pick the qualified high deductible plan and move if you want to switch over to that. An HSA is a great way for you to save for your medical expenses, whether those are going to be this year, next year, 3 years from now, or when you retire. Just remember the dollars that are put into an HSA, whether that's through the county or through payroll that you put in, are your money to keep forever. Never disappears, never goes away. You don't lose it at the end of the year. You don't lose it when you leave. You don't lose it when you retire. All those dollars are yours to keep and use. So just remember that. That's what that money is put in there for you. The next page, it talks about the maximums you can put in. So just remember that the dollars that the county is giving you go towards that maximum. So let's say I'm just a single person. The IRS says I can put in next year $3,450 into my HSA, and the county is going to give me $1,200, so I got to take that off of that. So I could put in $2,250. Does that make sense to everyone? So that's the annual maximums. There's no lifetime maximum. So again, every dollar I put in there, I can use for future medical expenses, whether or not I need it this year or next year. It just stays in there for me to use. It is a savings account. What can I use my HSA for? The next page talks about healthequity.com/QME, or qualified medical expenses. Same rules apply to an HSA that is applied to your cafeteria plan or FSA. So I can obviously use it when I go to the doctor. I can use it for prescriptions. I can use it for my glasses. I can use it for dental work. I can use it at the chiropractor. There's all sorts of things that the IRS will allow me to spend those dollars on for qualified medical expenses. If I happen to spend something from my HSA on something that's not qualified, does anybody know what happens? It's like pulling out money from your 401k early. You're going to have to tell the IRS you spent it on something you weren't supposed to, so they're going to add that back in as income, so you're going to pay income tax on it, and they're going to charge you a penalty of 20%. So if I pull $1,000 out to buy that TV that I've always wanted from my HSA, I got to tell the IRS I did that. I'm going to have to add that $1,000 in as income, and then I'm going to pay $200 in penalties. If I use it for medical expenses, the things that I just talked about, the qualified medical expenses, I never pay any taxes or penalties on it. So again, it's there for certain things. Please use it for those. If you need to pull it out for something else, you make the decision, but you're going to have to tell the IRS that when you file your taxes. Any questions on that? All right. Then on the last page, it talks about two things that are important. HSA plans can work for all of us in the room. Obviously, if we don't go to the doctor very much, it's mathematically the smartest plan because I can take the savings from picking the cheaper plan and I get the money from the county and I'm able to keep those dollars myself. If I have a lot of medical expenses and I'm at the doctor a lot and I go to the hospital a lot and I buy a lot of medications, the HSA plan, the qualified plan, has a lower out-of-pocket maximum for my family and for single folks. So that would make sense as well. And you can see on there, there's different people. Maybe I want to shop around. Maybe I do see the doctor a few times a year and I've got a monthly medication. You kind of have to do the math and see which plan is going to be best for you. Last but not least, our member services team is available for you 24/7. You can call us anytime, any day of the year. We found that 1 out of every 4 calls happens after hours and on the weekends. So please, we understand that while you're working, a lot of times you can't break away and make a call to ask questions about your account. So give us a call after you get done working on the weekend. We're happy to help out with that. And last but not least, our mobile app on the very back page. You can load that on your phone. It's for free, and you can access your account anytime you need it. If you're going to pick up a prescription, you need to figure out how much money you've got in your HSA, you can pull that up very easily. Just like was mentioned earlier, you can set it up on your iPhone, so you can just touch your fingerprint on it, opens it up to your secure website, shows you all the details you have of your account. Any questions on the HSA? Again, just to reiterate, now is the time to choose that if you're not in it already. If you've decided that you didn't like the HSA plan and want to go back out, any dollars that you've put in or the county's put in for you over the course of this last year, you get to keep. They stay yours. You just can't keep adding to it if you disenroll from the qualified plan. So just remember that. These are your dollars. They never disappear, and it's for your medical expenses throughout the rest of your life. I'll be around after the meeting's done if you have individual questions and want to ask those then.
Does everybody have a pen? By chance? So on the back of your book, we left the information for Bancorp, and so I just wanted to point that out. So on the very back folder, just cross out Bancorp. You'll want to put in Health Equity because that's the name of the administrator, and then the phone number, which is 866-346-5800. Sure. Cross off the second. It says Health Savings Account, Health Equity. You'll want to put in Health Equity, cross off Bancorp. And then the phone number is 866-346-5800. Okay, in the book, you'll notice that we refer to Bancorp, which is the HSA administrator, which no longer obviously is in place, and it's Health Equity. So, and that's what Scott just handed out, which is the purple and white pamphlet. So I just wanted to make sure and point that out to you. Okay, next we've got LJ with Dental Select, and then we'll turn over the time to review the dental benefits. And it's a review, so make sure you ask your questions if you have any.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? I see some nods and smiley face. That's good. Again, thank you for allowing Dental Select to take care of your dental insurance and continuing your coverage. It's still the same plan. The network is called the Platinum. So you can go to our website or you can download it on the mobile app. All your providers that are in your surrounding area. We have 3,000 providers that accept the plan, and that would include general dentists and also the specialty. You do have an individual deductible of $25. Family deductible is $75. Now that deductible only applies towards your basic and major services. It does not apply towards your preventative. Your maximum, that will start when you become eligible on the dental plan, and everyone starts with $1,200. Each year we increase that, it grows. So the second year that you're with Dental Select, we're going to increase that by $100, so that will go up to $1,300. then 1,500, and then it will cap out at 2,000. So if you've been with the company with Dental Select Insurance, you should be up at 2,000. If you want to know what your maximum is, you can go ahead and give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to give you that information if you do have some major services that's coming up. And your basic services, which are going to be your filling, your simple filling, resin filling, any type of extraction. Oral surgery would be like wisdom teeth extraction. And then those are going to be covered at 80% by Dental Select, and you're going to be responsible for the other 20% after you've met your deductible. Now, under basic services, you also have your perio. Perio is any type of gingivitis, gum disease, and endo, which are your root canals. And then your major services are crowns, bridges, and dentures. Then also a full implant coverage that's going to be covered at 50/50. So on your implant coverage, if you've been on the plan for 3 consecutive years or we extract that tooth, we're going to give you the full benefit. The full benefit is going to include your post, which goes in your gum line, and then the crown over the post. I would say anything over $300, if your dentist gives you a treatment plan, I would request a predetermination. Predetermination comes over to Dental Select, then we send it back to your dentist, letting you know what's going to be covered before you have the treatment. You also have a separate benefit for your ortho. Anyone under the age of 19 will cover 50% for a lifetime of $1,500. So that would be for each dependent on your policy. So just remember, your ortho benefit is separate from your dental. You will start off at $1,200 for your dental, and that will increase every year. Make sure that you do get your preventative 2 times in a calendar year. That's cleaning, exams, and x-rays. If you go in network, that's free of charge, so there's no out-of-pocket cost for you. That way you can stay healthy. If you have any questions or any concern, please give our customer care a call, or you can write my name down. It's LJ, and you can contact me at Dental Select if you have any question on your claims, eligibility or anything like that. So please reach out to me so I can help you. Do you guys have any questions? Yes? Yes, to 2,000. Yeah, I have a schedule. The first year it'll go up by 100. The second year 200. The third year 300, and then $400. So it'll cap out at 2,000. Okay. Yes, everyone starts at $1,200, and depending on how long you've been with Dental Select, I mean, if you've been with us for 5 years, then you should be up at the 2,000 mark. Right, but if we get a 2,500 or something like that counts towards that. Yes, that would include everything. That would include your preventative, basic, and major services. Okay? Yes. It can be any time in the year. So let's say I go in for my preventative today, then I go again tomorrow. That would be my 2 time for calendar year. So you can go anytime. Any other questions?
Jay, this is part of your website.
Oh, there you go. See, here it is. I have hard copies too, so, and the good thing about our mobile app, you can download the providers, and you can also download your ID card. Once you download your ID card, you can save it, so you don't have to have it in your wallet, and then you can also text it or email it to your dentist. Again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, LJ. Go ahead.
I'm Josh from National Benefit Services. We provide the flexible spending account, the limited flexible spending account, and the dependent daycare benefit. The flex plan is for those who are enrolled in the traditional health care plan. It allows you to set aside a portion of your income to pay for medical expenses with pre-tax dollars. One of the advantages of the flex plan is that you have access to the full amount of your annual election from the beginning of the year. So if you set aside, the limit for next year has gone up $50, so you can do up to $2,650. If you set aside $2,650 next year, then that $2,650 will come out little by little. Each paycheck, a portion of that's going to come out, but you have access to the full amount right on January 1st, so that if you have a big expense in January, you can even plan a big expense in January if you know that you need some dental work or something, and you can give yourself a short-term interest-free, tax-free loan if you use the benefit in that way. Now, for those of you enrolled in the high deductible plan with the health savings account, you can still do a limited flexible spending account. The limited flex plan lets you pay for vision and dental expenses with pre-tax dollars. Really is a great benefit in 3 situations. Number 1, you know you're going to have a big expense, like you're going to have crowns or an implant or something at the beginning of the year. So you pay for it at the beginning of the year with limited flex dollars. You don't need to touch the HSA dollars. You can continue to use those to save towards retirement for future medical expenses, but you can still get the tax benefits through the limited flex plan. The second scenario is if you're putting in those annual maximums into the HSA. So if you're an individual, you're putting $3,450 into the HSA. If you're a family, you're putting in the $6,900. But you still want some capacity, some additional capacity to save money on taxes for vision and dental expenses. You can do that through the LFSA without having to touch any of that money that you're putting into the HSA. The third scenario is if you have adult children who are enrolled in your medical plan between the age of 19 and 26, but you want to use flex dollars to pay for vision or dental expenses for them. The way that HSA rules work, once they are over the age of 19 or they're no longer tax dependent, they can have their own health savings account, but you can't use your health savings account dollars for them anymore. Flex plans have a broader definition of what is a household, so you can still use limited flex dollars to pay for vision or dental expenses for those adult children who are still living at home enrolled in your medical expenses. The dependent care plan is dependent daycare, pays up to $5,000 for dependent care, and is a great benefit if it applies to you. If you've got questions about that one, go ahead and ask me. If there are any other questions that you've got, I'll be here after the meeting. You're welcome to come and ask me about flex, limited flex. Question now.
I have a question. Say you're going to have surgery like at the end of the year, and you put some away for 2018. Can you pay those your co-pays that were incurred in December from January?
That's a great question. Just for the sake of the recording, the question was, if you incur an expense in December of 2017, can you use 2018 flex money in order to pay for the 2017 expenses? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. You can't use 2018 money to pay for 2017 expenses. Great question. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Josh. Next is a screenshot on Hartford. That's your life insurance. No changes here. Do know that the county is paying for a basic benefit for you, the employee, of $25,000, for your spouse, $10,000. Excuse me. Yeah, $25,000, $10,000 for the spouse, and $2,000 for each of your children. Voluntary coverage is something you can access in addition to the basic coverage. You're outside of your new hire waiting period, so that's not applicable, but do know you can apply for additional voluntary life insurance if you wish. Voluntary coverage is lower rates, and it's obviously through payroll deduction, and I highly recommend you, if you're thinking, you know what, I need to have more life insurance in place, that's a great policy to do it with. You can get as much as $600,000 through Hartford. So make sure you're aware of that. Your spouse up to $250,000. And there is an age reduction, and it starts at age 65. So I like to point that out. It probably does not apply to any of you, but just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. Next is the Employee Assistance Program, and as I highlighted earlier, this is being paid in full for you by the county. Natalie's here from Blomquist and Hale. Did you want to say a few words? Okay.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me be here today. So as most of you are probably aware, Blomquist Hale is your employee assistance plan, and we offer free and confidential counseling to all employees and their family members that live in the home with you. And that can be a really great benefit when you go through something difficult. We don't always plan to go through difficult life events, but they tend to pop up in the most inconvenient times and places. Maybe it's a matter of couples counseling. You see in here on the screen the different things that we offer. You know, we do individual counseling. There's no life event that is too big or too small. We work a lot with anxiety, depression, phase of life changes. We've had people come in and say, should I buy a house? I'm just trying to decide if this is a good move for me. Am I ready to retire? I've got an aging family member who needs a lot of our attention. I need help finding resources. We are here to help with all of those things. We do a lot of couples counseling. We do work with teenagers. Maybe you've got a teenager who is struggling. They're maybe not getting along well with their peers at school. They're dealing with some life changes or going through just being a teenager is hard in general. We do a lot of work and counseling with them. We offer legal referrals if you need advice on just want to talk to an attorney. We don't cover the cost of hiring an attorney, but we'll definitely give you get you on the right paths and help you find those resources. We also help with your departments. If there is ever a crisis here at Box Elder County, we are happy to be here on site and help with your employees. If you ever need a training, maybe you need a training on customer service. I know Corey Eddington has been out several times and has done a few trainings on customer service, or we do trainings on all sorts of things. There's no cost to have us come out and help with that for your departments as well. But if you yourself are having a crisis and need to talk to someone, we have a therapist available 24/7 to help during that time. And like I said, there is never a cost to you to use our services. And if you've ever used your insurance plan to find a therapist, you know it can be very expensive. Therapy generally costs, about $100 a session. And that can be really cost prohibitive for a lot of families. When you are going twice a month, that can put it out of the budget for most people. So being able to have this service at no cost to you that is paid for by the county is a really great thing. Nobody wants to go through a difficult life event, but all of us will. And so knowing that we are here when you need us I think is a good thing. Just one last thing I'd like to say is we have locations. We want to make it as convenient as possible. We have a location in Ogden. We have one in Logan. And we work with several therapists here in Brigham City as well to make it as convenient for you as possible. Any questions about our service? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is being recorded, sorry. Okay, so just as a reminder, again, look at your options. Make sure you're making the best choice for you and your family. It does need to stay in place for the year. Update your beneficiary information, especially your HSA. So if you're on the HSA today, what happens to that money should you pass away? It goes to your beneficiary, okay? So make sure that stays current. Complete your enrollment by November 17th. And then certainly if you make changes, watch for ID cards. If you have the FSA, your card will not be reissued unless your card is expiring and you enroll again on the FSA, it'll just reload the money that you've set aside. So just so you know. I'm going to turn the time over to Daryl, and he's going to go through the voluntary plans.
Yes. Thank you very much. My name is Daryl. I'm with Transamerica. We've talked about some of these Transamerica benefits in years past, but this is a great refresher, especially for some of you people who may have been on the policies already and have not submitted for things like wellness reimbursements or other claims. So I'm here to answer any questions on how to do that. As a quick reminder, Transamerica voluntary benefits, these are supplemental insurance programs. The major difference between these programs and any of the benefits we've already discussed is that these policies pay you a direct benefit in cash if you ever need to file a claim, like because of an accident, critical illness, or cancer or hospitalization. That's really nice, especially when you think about what your out-of-pocket costs are. You know, you've got great benefits from here at the county. Your deductible's not very high, especially if you're on the HSA plan, considering the contribution. But a majority of us need additional extra money just to cover everyday living expenses. Harvard did a study back in 2009 where they wanted to, and what they wanted to find out was, why do people go bankrupt? And they found that 70% of all people go bankrupt even though they have, 70% of those people who went bankrupt even though they had a regular health insurance plan. Okay, so what they determined was that it wasn't the health insurance bills that were causing people to go bankrupt. It was because that they just didn't have enough reserves to take care of things like the mortgage, the rent, the utilities, the gas, the groceries. And so these programs, because they pay you a cash benefit, you can use those funds for any of those outstanding expenditures or put it towards any personal expenditures that you'd want. That flat screen TV that you wanted to buy, hey, I don't care if you use that money to buy your flat screen TV. That's your money. You get to do with it however you want. So Transamerica offers 5 different programs that are available to you. The most popular ones being the accident program, the cancer program, and the critical illness program. The reason for that is each one of those policies include a wellness benefit of $150, okay? So, and how many of us, raise your hands, don't need to raise your hands, but think about it. If you're participating in the county's wellness program and getting a biometric screening done every single year, that qualifies you for that wellness benefit. So if I'm on the accident plan and my spouse is on the accident plan and we do our preventative screenings, it's worth $300 towards it for us. If I'm on all 3, it's worth $900 for us. So you get that benefit in addition to all the other benefits that are listed in the policy. For example, the accident program, that covers me and my entire family in case I have an individual accident. I have to go to the doctor for it. Let's say I have a kid that says, hey mom, hey dad, watch me do this. Okay, and we end up running to the emergency room or the Instacare center to get an arm looked at or a wrist looked at, okay? Yeah, I see some heads nodding. That's probably happened to a few of us. Maybe that's your spouse. I don't know. Maybe he says, hold my beer. I don't know. That's fine. So I go into the doctor's office. The very first thing I'm going to get is $150 just to be seen by a physician. That's if nothing's wrong. If something is wrong, then I receive an additional benefit on top of that for how bad the injury is. For example, if I fracture my wrist or break my arm, it's worth an extra $1,100, and then it's also worth another $75 each time I go back in for follow-up care. So a simple injury like a broken arm could easily pay me a benefit of $1,400. Well, if I remember what my out-of-pocket is, I may not even need to dip into my out-of-pocket or into my HSA savings, and I can continue to accrue that over the years. The policy premium for that for family coverage is only $40, and I'm getting $300 of it back if me and my spouse do our preventative exams. If I'm looking for that policy for just an individual, it's only $22, and I still get the $150 for doing the preventative exam. Any questions on that? Cool. The second policy is the cancer policy. This policy will cover me and my family in case I'm ever diagnosed with an internal cancer or a skin cancer, okay? Obviously, cancer is one of those illnesses that most of us have some sort of experience with, either a loved one in our own family or somebody in our neighborhood. According to the American Cancer Society, 1 out of every 3 Americans at some point in our lifetime will be diagnosed with a cancer illness. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to you. Of course, it's 1 in 3. And if we just talk to the guys in the room, it's actually worse. It's 1 in 2. Sorry, guys. I'm a part of that, so I'm going to knock on wood here for myself. And so the reality is it's one of those illnesses that just affects a lot of us. If that ever happens to me or somebody in my family, the very first benefit I can count on is $2,000 for a diagnosis benefit. And then depending on what I choose for treatment, whether it be chemo, radiation, surgery, I receive benefits for each one of those. For example, if I choose chemo, I would receive up to $5,000 for doing chemotherapy every single year. If I decide to have surgery, I could receive either $2,000 or $3,000 depending on if it's inpatient or outpatient. And I'd also receive benefits for the hospital stays, the nursing services, the drugs, the travel and transportation expenditures. All of those benefits would come back to me to help me out with fighting a cancer illness. Because that's really the big thing. Sometimes fighting a cancer illness just comes down to the amount of stress that I have in my life. And if I'm not stressing about how I'm going to afford my treatment, that helps out a ton. Additionally, the critical illness policy covers heart attacks, strokes, and cancer diagnoses. So if I have both cancer and the critical illness policy, and I'm diagnosed with cancer, my very first benefit is $12,000 between the two policies. This coverage also covers heart attacks and strokes, which is really great because sometimes heart attacks affect us or can happen at any point, depending on our genetic history and some of our lifestyle choices. My uncle, he's a rancher down in central Utah. He is what you'd consider to be a tough guy. He looks great, he's lean, he works all day out on the ranch, and then comes back and does a full day's worth of chores back at the house. And this last year, he had a heart attack. Okay, so it just goes to show you that sometimes it's just inevitable for some people with certain genetic markers. He had to be life flighted from central Utah to St. George, spent 3 days in the hospital, literally died on the table at one point. Was able to be brought back. 3 days later, was able to go home. And it's affected him quite a lot for the last year and a half, or the last half of the year. Simply because as you're recovering from a heart attack, that can be really difficult. So for them and their family, having that $10,000 has really helped out because of the less amount of work that he has had to do on the ranch because of his recovery time. The two other policies that are available, there's a hospital indemnity program and a short-term disability program. A lot of people like to use these, especially when they're adding kids to their family. The inpatient hospital indemnity program will pay $1,000 to be admitted into the hospital for at least 24 hours or more. Also, the short-term disability program will pay up to 3 months of disability benefit for any injury or illness. And yes, maternity is considered an illness, not an accident. I see some guys sometimes go, hey, we didn't mean to. Can I file this under my accident policy? And I said, no. Your wife is throwing up. That's a sickness. No, just kidding. Anyway, so if that's, that short-term disability doesn't just work for maternity. It works in addition to maternity. So if I have an injury and I can't come to work because of my injury, I could receive 60% of my wages every day that I miss work until I can come back to work full-time. So if this plan or any of these plans that I mentioned to you are of interest to you and feel like might be a good benefit for you, I passed out to everybody one of these employee worksheets. This employee worksheet just simply lets me know if I need to follow up with you on any of these benefits to either enroll in coverage, answer questions, or help out with any claims. So if you would do me a favor, take that pen that was delivered to you, put your name and phone number on there, and then let me know if I need to follow up with you by either circling the one that says want to enroll, the one that says have questions, need coverage, and need to review. If you're not interested in these plans, that's okay too. I still want to collect one of these back from you. Just go ahead and put your name on it and circle the not interested. That way, I can make sure I follow up with those who are interested and not bug those who are not. Seem fair? Cool. That's it from me unless anybody has any questions. Great.
Washington Mutual.
Piece right here. Hello,
You need to,
No, it's all right. I think that, you mean the microphone?
no, they are recording you right now.
Oh, okay. So use it, huh? Okay.
Just talk into it.
Okay. I'm Patrick with Washington National. They're a 108-year-old company. We are offering the employees here on payroll deduction supplemental benefits. They're pretty much like the gentleman that just explained his. We do have some unique features, a return of premium, and this is something that you probably should keep forever. So when you get my age and you're getting on Medicare, it makes a great little Medicare supplement plan because it pays over and above in addition to any other insurance that you have. We have an accident plan with a return of premium, cancer plan, heart attack and stroke plan, disability, intensive care, and they each one come with a 100% return of premium. Every so often the company gives you all your money back. They automatically send you a check for everything you paid into it, minus any claims. So it pays daily income up to $12,000 a month. Your first diagnosis of internal cancer, you get up to $10,000. Plus it pays on surgery, reconstruction, prosthesis, treatments in or out of the hospital are self-administered, and it goes on and on. It doesn't make any difference what your other insurance pays. You don't see that money anyway. It's paid directly to the company that did the services. Our checks are paid directly to you, over and above, in addition, on top of any other insurance that you have. And like I say, if you quit work, change jobs, or retire, you certainly ought to take this with you, because ever so often the company will send you a check for everything you paid into it back to you. So it gives you that peace of mind that's priceless, plus unlimited financial help when you need it. And, like at least half of us in here are never going to get cancer. It's nice to know that you get all your money back, and then, you can't ever be canceled. You'll just continue making that same monthly premium that you've always made, and ever so often you get a check for all your premium money back, minus any claims. And the return of premium doesn't affect, if you have 2 or 3 programs, your return of premium doesn't affect the others. So it's like a little savings account in each one. And we personally like to help all of our people with questions and claims, and we're available 24/7, 365. We're out of Salt Lake City, so we're pretty close to being local, and that's basically it. We have these packets in the back here that have everything in it that goes into detail, so it won't be so redundant, with contact information and everything. I recommend anybody that's interested, I know some of you are already with us, but pick up a packet, and it'll give you that information. If you have any questions, give us a call. But like I say, it's a good fun way to save money and still have that peace of mind that's priceless, knowing that you have unlimited financial help regardless of what your other insurance pays. So it's certainly going to take care of that deductible, plus put some nice extra money in your pocket, so when these things occur in life, you won't have to wipe out your savings or anything like that. I was telling them earlier, my stepson, both of them were playing on a go-kart, and I have the checks that I've copied a few years ago, and I had my accident plan, and we had real good major medical, and the copay, the deductible was $27. And the kids were out in front on a go-kart. He hit the curb. David fell into him, broke these 2 bones, go to the ER, cast. 6 weeks later, gets out of the cast. They go right back to the neighbor kids. They had the rollerblades out. Took him about 2 minutes. He broke them again. I didn't think they'd pay that second one. I thought they'd call that a pre-existing condition, because they don't know me from you guys at our corporate headquarters in Indiana. And I was just fixing to send the first claim in, so I just told them, print me off my bill, and I put a little note in there, first time claim, second time claim. And they processed me in 3 days. I got 6 checks all at once. It's close to Christmas. They totaled $4,120. And so we were going to have us a big old Christmas, but then my transmission blew up. Murphy's Law. $5,000. Larry H. Miller got it. Thank God I had it, because I didn't have that kind of money sitting in the bank. So that's why we need these plans, this protection, and stop by and pick up a packet at Michael there at the very back, and has all the information. Call us, and we can get you signed up. Takes about 2 minutes. Any questions?
Okay, lastly, Mike is here from Opticare. I have to apologize. I know I had him on there, but for some reason missed him. So here's Mike really quick from Opticare.
I don't think it was on the PowerPoint. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike. I'm from Opticare of Utah, and we're your vision hardware insurance vendor. If you look on page 44 from your booklet, you'll see where the benefits are at for that. So we can just kind of touch on those briefly. Nothing's changed this year, so it's the same benefits as last year. And it should be, pretty much the same providers. I also handed out a provider lookup sheet on how to find those providers online, and just some highlights there on the right on who's in network. You have two in-network options with Opticare. You have the select network and the broad network, and those are the first two columns on this page, on page 44. Okay? As you can see there is no eye exam benefit. That is through the medical insurer. So you would want to find a provider through Cigna to get your eye exams taken care of. So you can take that prescription in and take advantage of this benefit. It's a really good benefit. It's contributory, so the county pays a lot of that benefit. And it's a very, very rich benefit compared to the providers that are the groups that I currently work with. You're anywhere from 100 to 120 on frame allowances, and that's every 12 months. Contacts, same thing, 100 to 120 for in-network providers, and that is every 12 months. You don't have to wait for a full calendar year. You can use it now, and you can use it in the middle of next year, and you're okay. Okay? So any additional eyewear, there's some coverages there. There's some coverages there for LASIK as well if you go to the Select Network. Just so you know, Select Network is standard optical. And then also considered in-network is VisionWorks, Shopcare, America's Best, and a lot of independent optometrists around the state. There's about 150 in the state of Utah and 20,000 nationwide. Any questions on the vision coverage, hardware coverage? If you didn't get one of these, I have some extras here, and also I have some lens cloths to hand out to you. They're great for your glasses, sunglasses, so even if you don't take this benefit, please take some of the lens cloths. I'll pass those out to you, or you can come up and grab some. They work great for any of your phones or cameras or anything like that. They're fun to have around, especially in the car when you're driving. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everybody. That concludes the meeting. Unless you have any specific questions, we're here. Appreciate it.